Talarian of the Novamagnorian. We've held out as long as we can, like dead. Please send reinforcements. God, Emperor, save us. But they just came out of the ground. Too many of them. Ah!
Welcome to Days of Lore. On today's episode, we will be discussing the clash of Captain Titus's Ultramarines and Necrosaur Amintar's Necrons in the battle for Novamagnor.
I think Novamagnor was a planet you guys mentioned before. Where exactly is that located again?
Alex, do you want to tell him where Novamagnor is?
Well, Novamagnor is located in the Heliodras system. That's a Vespertor, the eastern tetra of Ultramar, under the command of Captain Felix of the Ultramarines. The Heliodras system only contains two planets of note, Novamagnor, a colony world, and Idaris, an agri-world.
And how exactly are they affected by the reclamation of the 500 worlds?
We've talked about how some planets are being attacked by evil Chaos Space Marines, Dark Eldar, or Leagues of Otan. The agri-world of Idaris is under attack by a small tendril of Hive Fleet Leviathan Tyranids.
Well, that kind of makes sense, right? The Tyranids, they love to eat biomass, and it seems like agri-worlds would be the perfect place to find food.
Yeah, and I did a little bit of research. The book mentions that this world has paddocks and arable towers. Paddocks are used for livestock, and Idaris has a miles-wide pasture for millions of what I imagine are cows. And arable towers are used for vertical farming. They use less water and take up less space, and they're mainly used for greens like lettuce, kale, basil, parsley, and mint. I did a lot of research on my Googling. And Idaris, I can only imagine, is like the steak and garnish capital of the Heliodras system. And Captain Titus knows this. The Wardens of Ultramar descend in force upon this planet to protect their steaks. The Ultramarian fleet, led by Commodore Silva, engages in void warfare against the Tyranid fleet. Ultramarine boarding parties battle through the living insides of these huge Tyranid ships. It's really cool because Tyranid fleets in space, they're all giant living beings. So they're like inside the stomachs and planting charges and grenades and dynamite and battling their way through these ships.
I like to think it's kind of like the Grave Mine mission from Halo 3.
But with like prime ribeye and New York strip.
Now, when you were mentioning about them going boarding parties inside the living Tyranid ships, it reminds me of the Grave Mine, where everything's covered in like flesh.
Yeah. Oh shoot. What is that mission from Halo 3? Is it Cortana?
Cortana. Yeah. That's what I was talking about. Yeah, Cortana.
I hate that mission. Because you're dealing with the pure forms, and I hate those things.
The ones that keep transforming into all the types, I hate them.
Yes. When the Ultramarines get to Idaris, it becomes a purging operation. This purging operation only lasts 3 days. On day 1, the Ultramarine 2nd Company lands and stop the advance of the Tyranids. Day 2, Legatus Minervus brings in her Ultramarian Auxilia and shore up the defenses and guide the Tyranids into kill zones. Day 3, Captain Titus himself leads a final attack on the Tyranid Prime and kills the beast that was holding the hive mind together. 3 days, and an entire Tyranid invasion has been stopped. While he was leading his final attack, Titus tells his troops to track where these Tyranids came from so that he could chart a path backwards and possibly deal with bigger threats. But when they were working on this, they found something weird. The path that the Tyranids took went around that planet Novamagnor that we mentioned, but Novamagnor is a colony world.
Okay, so from what we know of the Tyranids, they are somewhat intelligent, but really the only two things they do is kill things and eat those things. Why would they go around a planet if they knew what they wanted to eat on it was there?
And that's exactly what Captain Titus is asking himself. And he knows the answer because he was in the Death Watch. If you've played the Space Marine 2 video game, you know that Titus starts the game as a member of the Death Watch, where he gains knowledge and experience from different chapters and about other species. And he knew that dealing with Tyranids, they will only avoid a planet if there's a Necron tomb world present. And Necrons are not a threat that you can deal with in 3 days. So Titus knows. He gathers the Wardens of Ultramar, and they make their way to Novamagnor.
So the Tyranids knew that there was a tomb world there. So what makes Novamagnor so special?
Nothing. It's a colony world. In Warhammer terms, this is one planet that has maybe 2 cities, not the huge hive cities that we know from like Necromunda. It's growing, and maybe in 100 years it would be a big hive world with huge industry and infrastructure, but it's just starting out. The only thing that makes it special, really, is that millions of years ago, the Necrons went into the Great Sleep there, and now they're awake. The Ultramarines arrive, and they see Novamagnor is completely covered in a storm, and they're having trouble contacting the planetary governor, Adrica Gallo. And before they can even begin to plan how to get onto the planet's surface, a massive Necron ship, dwarfing even Titus's flagship, comes out of the surface of Novamagnor and just starts jetting into space. What is your first reaction if you're an Ultramarine and you see a giant Necron ship hurtling towards you?
As a Space Marine, I would say I need to go towards it. But if in my current seat, I would say let's go the other direction.
Well, you will be
kill it.
Asher will be shot for his cowardice. Because Titus and the Ultramarines, they go full bore, charge, shoot that thing out of the sky, kill it.
The funniest part is Titus has just become a captain, by the way.
Yeah, this is like his first day on the job.
Yeah.
This was not in the training material.
Wake up, stop a Tyranid invasion, have a cup of coffee, have a giant Necron tomb ship hurtling towards you.
Yeah, it's not even lunch yet, guys. Come on, get with it.
So this Necron ship comes out of the planet, and it starts blasting everything in its path, but only the things in its path. It's not really worried about all the other ships in Titus's fleet. Now, of course, the Ultramarines, they're like, let's kill this thing. They engage the Necron ship. They do the same thing they did with the Tyranids. They board it, and they fight their way through the Necron garrison on the tomb ship. Just like a video game, you follow where the enemies are. If there are more enemies, then that must be where the treasure is. They wind up in this shrine area. All of the Necrons are concentrated around this shrine, but not the bridge of the ship. And the Necron Lord is there with his royal bodyguard. And they look like they've already sustained damage from some other battle. And the Ultramarines just murk them. They kill them immediately. There's nothing they can do.
Knowing the rest of the story, I feel so bad for these Necrons.
I know. It's like this is also a guy who probably just woke up, had a cup of coffee, realized something is bad, it's happening, and is like, we got to get out of here. Come on, guys. Gets blown up on the sidewalk.
He's running away as fast as he can and just runs into a massive group of frat boys.
Yeah.
The Necrons are something that the Imperium has already had run-ins with, right? So they know somewhat what they're dealing with when this thing pops out of the ground.
Yeah, Necrons are still, like, kind of new to the Imperium, and it seems like every time a Necron shows up, it's like, it's game over, man.
Well, it's because I think the Imperium doesn't really have anything to counter Necrons. Like the Imperium has figured out ways to counter Tyranids. Necrons are just, their power is so much higher than anything else the Imperium has fought, that at this point the only way to basically deal with Necrons is to hopefully just destroy all their bodies and hope they don't come back.
Right. So
Which they will. They will come back later.
when they got to this Necron Lord and his royal bodyguard, and they're able to wipe them out that quickly, does that to them signal something a bit more ominous is happening, rather than not like, oh yeah, that was easy, sweet, let's call it a day? Like, okay, we might be stumbling onto a bigger issue.
Titus definitely clocks it. He realizes, he's like, okay, something damaged these guys before we got here. And also before they even board the ship, they notice that the ship itself has sustained damage from Necron weaponry. Not from Imperial weaponry, but from like Necron stuff. So he's like, interesting. I don't know what that's all about.
So is this going to end up being from our friend from last week?
Possibly.
Amintar?
Possibly. But before we get there, we find out what the Necron Lord was guarding. In this shrine, there's a little artifact. And Titus is like, hey, this is Xenos scum. This is treachery. I'm going to destroy this thing. But then a little voice comes over the Vox, the radio, and says, wait, I want this. He's like, who's this? And it's a member of the Adeptus Mechanicus, the kind of engineers of the Imperium. And the guy's like, I am Archmagos Controvertant Whitber Oct, and I think that this is a weapon of unimaginable power. So destroying it might kill everyone. Give it to me, and I'll study it. I'm an expert on Xenos topics and technology.
What could possibly go wrong with that?
Yeah. Because if you've played the Space Marine 2 video game, you know that the Mechanicus are totally trustworthy with Necron technology.
Yeah, in everything, the Mechanicus are just these... Man, even in Angels in Death, the Mechanicus lady?
Yes! It's so funny that they are masters of technology, but it's like being the smartest kid at the playground and you still like eat a bug every now and then. You're like, you realize that they're just stupid.
Yeah. Oh no.
This is the first time that we've mentioned the Adeptus Mechanicus. Like I said, they are the engineers, they are experts on technology, and they come from Mars. And most of their technological prowess comes from this ancient god of theirs called the Omnissiah. And it is believed that this Omnissiah and some of these powers might actually come from a Satan shard called the Dragon. There's an old ancient story of like the Emperor came to Mars and like chained up the dragon and then also like healed a knight with just his touch. And
yeah, that was like all during the like Renaissance period, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or like it's theorized that he went to Mars.
Slew a dragon,
you know.
Which was a
Mars.
Satan shard.
Which was a Satan shard during like the Renaissance.
That's kind of why the Mechanicus are like, oh, the Omnissiah, the Emperor, they're like kind of the same thing. But they also recognize that the dragon itself is what kind of gave Mars its power. And Archmagos Oct, he has been studying alien technology and he has devoted himself to the Mars dragon and has secretly become devoted to finding the shards of the dragon's kin. In case you haven't caught on, there's a Satan locked in a dungeon on Mars. This guy wants to free it and all of its brothers.
Which takes me back to my earlier question. What could possibly go wrong?
So Titus gives this artifact to Oct. He destroys the Necron ship, and he and his boys, they go down to the surface of Novamagnor, and it's chaos. Necrons are left and right, humans are battling, fighting for their lives, the local planetary defense force is fighting tooth and nail to stay alive. Necron structures are coming up out of the ground, destroying the landscape, opening huge chasms across the world, and either they're glowing red with lava or green with ancient Necron power. Governor Gallo is sitting in her throne room in a place called the Obstinus Bastion. Right across from a chasm to the west of the Obstinus Bastion is the primary tomb complex known as Site Umbra, which for you Latin people that means shadow. Titus and his men go and greet the governor, and she gives them a rundown. She says that the Necrons, they came up, they woke up, but they don't seem to have a primary objective. They are attacking at random, and also Site Umbra is inactive. It hasn't woken up yet. So we might be able to do something. We've kind of got them while they're sleeping. Archmagos Oct, He goes off, he takes the artifact to Novamagnor's Forge Shrine, and he's going to try to unlock its secrets. But here's the catch. He knows what this thing is. It's not a weapon. It's a Satan shard. And he can feel in his bones and his wires that the Satan were kin to the god, the Omnissiah, and he thinks that this is a shard of the dragon. So if he can free it, he'll be rewarded. All right, back to Titus. Here's the plan. Step 1, take a vortex bomb into Site Umbra. Step 2, blow up the Necron structure. Step 3, go back to Adaris and have a hearty steak dinner.
Seems fairly straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be home before dinner. Rev up those fryers, rev up those paddocks and those arable towers. Make sure we've got kale in good supply. I can't imagine a Space Marine eating a salad. I'm bulking, brother.
Funnily enough, I'm pretty sure Blood Angels do.
They eat salads?
And for the lady, perhaps.
I mean, they have like whole feasts with like everything.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We
They
need
drink
more
wine,
lore.
for
Of,
God's sakes.
yeah, that makes sense. We need more lore of Space Marines eating. We should have a cookbook. GW, make a cookbook.
I'm pretty sure there is a Warhammer cookbook.
There is. There's actually the squat. No, not the squats. The Ratlings. They have a cookbook, and they tell you how to prepare meals from across battlefields. So, Asher, we're gonna take a giant bomb, and we're gonna blow up Site Umbra. You got it?
Yeah, that sounds like the plan, but seems to be how everything goes in the Warhammer universes. That's not actually how it's going to play out.
Well, it wouldn't be a good story if it played out to plan.
I suppose not. But continue.
Okay. So, Titus, his men, and some Mechanicus tech magi, they enter the structure. For some weird reason, the vortex bomb can only be activated by these Mechanicus tech priests. So already we're going in with a handicap. They are entering into this tomb. They look at the glowing walls that seem sick. Necron bodies are hanging out of their crypts, half destroyed. Canoptic constructs, the janitors of the Necrons, lie broken and strewn about. It's eerie. Going further into the tomb, they finally come across a giant, cavernous chamber, the heart of the tomb, with a giant pillar in the middle of the structure. Giant pillar, middle of a chasm. I have this giant bomb with me. I see my goal. They are slowly making their way to this pillar, and halfway to the pillar, runes in their visors start to go off. Kind of like a motion sensor in Halo. There's movement on the sensors, but they can't see anything. And Space Marines, they have really cool visors. They can like switch into night vision, infrared, like threat vision, heat vision. They are checking all of their scanners and nothing is popping up. Titus, smart man that he is, says, "All right, guys, I don't know what's out here, but let's run. It's like SpongeBob. Sprinting. And these poor tech priests, they are stumbling and trying their best to keep up because they are not as fast as Space Marines, and they're like hefting this giant bomb towards this pillar. And all of a sudden, in an instant, green flashes all around and hex-marked destroyers, 6 pistols blazing, killing Ultramarines left and right, and kill 2 of the 3 tech priests in just a split second. Sergeant Mataris, with his shield, he's able to guard the last tech priest. And Ultramarines, they turn and fire, but right when they do, Ophidians, the snake destroyers, come out of the ground with blades as hands and start shredding these Ultramarines. And something cool that the book mentions is Titus brought Eradicators with him. Eradicators with Melta rifles. And so they start shooting all these Necrons, and Locust Destroyers are there, Scorpex are charging into the fight. Everything has gone wrong in a split second. Titus is surrounded. His men are now having to do a counterattack to try to get to this pillar. Blade Guard leading the way. Apothecaries are giving out stem packs and recovering gene seed from fallen warriors. And the closer and closer they get to this pillar, fighting tooth and nail trying to get there, and they're almost there when the tech priest is running with the bomb and just a huge beam of green light evaporates him into a red mist. and it seems like the world pauses. Everybody looks up at where that beam came from, and it's our boy. Or it's our thing. It, Necrosor Amintar, has arrived.
Oh, he's back.
It is back, Asher. Because it is a destroyer. It is the destroyer. No tech priest means no bomb. Mission failure. And now, Titus and his men have to fight their way out. The plan has changed. We gotta survive. Now everybody's battling destroyers and flayed ones are popping out of their little pocket dimensions. Titus and his men barely make it out of the tomb alive, and they make it to the Thunderhawks. People are limping on, and Titus makes sure that everybody gets aboard before the ramp closes, and he sees the Necrosor staring at him.
So they've gone into this main tomb, and it seems that Amintar is attacking. Was this planned for them to assault the Ultramarines in this sense, or were they already there, just planning to take care of the Necrons on the planet?
Oh, Alex, do you have any theories?
I think since Necrons use dimensional tech, and a lot of destroyers like Ophidians and Hexamarks and stuff are using dimensional things, I think they were probably already hidden, and this just happened to be a surprise that they could take advantage of.
Yeah, and
because they're destroyers, and they just want to destroy things.
Right. Well, I mean, the world triggering the waking up, would Amintar have triggered that, or would that have just happened on its own?
I think it is a mix of Amintar started to invade this world, and the master program of the Tomb World woke up some of the Necrons that were asleep before the master program got infected by the destroyer virus.
Yeah. Necrons of a Tomb World don't all wake up at the same time. Basically,
Right.
what happens is they'll have the master program kind of wakes up like the leaders first to kind of get like, hey guys, we're starting to trigger the Great Awakening, start planning some stuff so we can get all the forces together. So they have like the leaders to organize stuff, but sometimes is a name for it, but basically it's like a rushed awakening that's only for like emergencies. And I bet what happened was the master program probably knew about Amintar, tried to do like an emergency awakening to get the important stuff out.
Right.
And then since the destroyer virus can spread, I think it probably got infected, and at that point the leaders had already left on the barge, on the ship that had gone through the ground and tried to leave when Titus had interrupted them.
And the book does mention that the walls of the Tomb World are glowing kind of arrhythmically, like it's sick. So I think the Tomb World itself got infected.
Back to that. Yeah, because you mentioned that the primary tomb, Umbra, that hadn't even been awoken yet. And I guess with the leadership leaving on whatever craft that was the main section. But with Amintar looking at Titus as the ramp closed, the way I'm reading it, just hearing it for the first time, is that rather than seeing him as just like this foe, it's just like, wait, what are you doing here? What do you have to do with what I've got going on? It's like they just crossed paths accidentally.
I think it was completely accidental. Necrosor Amintar was just invading this world, and the Ultramarines just so happened to show up. And destroyers, when they see any form of life, no matter how weak, there's actually a section in the book is like fleeing civilians from the city. The Necrons that have been infected with the destroyer madness will turn and dedicate like entire forces to killing them. So I think that the Ultramarines showed up, it pinged off a sensor in the master program, and now that the master program is a destroyer, it tells Amintar, hey, there are people right here to kill. Amintar goes, cool, let's send some destroyers. Let's destroy this life. They didn't really know what the Ultramarines were doing.
They aren't trying to destroy this planet, and really their plan is to gather these artifacts from these tomb worlds.
Yeah, that was just kind of where my main question was coming from. Is like, are they trying to just stop what the Ultramarines were doing? That was their point, or like you guys have explained it, this is a perfect opportunity to destroy some stuff. Let's just go take care of this and then get back on the bus and go where we were going.
I actually have a theory. I don't think they actually cared if there was a bomb or not.
They didn't.
Because they don't care about this tomb world. It's not theirs. They don't have. This is just a. Basically, I think they explain it in the book. This is basically just a bus stop, pretty much. Like, tomb worlds have dimensional portals that they can take to other tomb worlds and stuff. So they could basically just get up and leave. The only problem is that the thing that they were trying to get is not there.
Necrosor Amintar's kind of right-hand person, Nemasor Anhatek, she finds the bomb, and kind of just as an afterthought, she's like, hey, somebody go move that in the corner. Because there are some of these Necrons that serve Amintar that aren't completely mad. And she looks at it and she's like, huh, these primitive things, that they made kind of a sick bomb. I might be able to use it later. So she just kind of like sticks it in the corner of the room. So that's a mystery mouse tool that we'll use for later.
I mean, I think she specifically states, like, it's pretty good for destroying life.
Yeah. She's like, hey, I might use this later. Titus and his men, they go back and they see that the whole tomb world is now waking up. Also, on their way back, fighting back into the Thunderhawks, they see that the master program has started to change some of the sleeping Necron's arms into blades. So it's the program itself infecting the sleeping Necrons with the Destroyer Madness and swapping out their arms and weapons.
I thought it was a quick thing. I thought it was the Cryptex that were doing that.
Well, yeah, Cryptex are doing that, but I think it's the program is telling them, hey, guys, it's upgrade time.
Yeah. The Cryptex are like the Necron scientists, basically.
So, now, Necrons are pouring out of Side Umbra. More structures are coming out of the ground. Titus feels ashamed. It gets worse. They start to receive messages from 2 different locations at the exact same time that a giant robed figure wielding a scythe is attacking the human army. Now, Asher, do you remember what that thing is?
I think Alex called it like what in that universe was basically where the description of the Grim Reaper came from, but I cannot remember who he called it.
What is it, Alex?
It is the Catan Shard of the Nightbringer.
The Nightbringer as a Gorod.
It is a shard of the Nightbringer.
Yes, just one shard.
That is specific because it is not the entirety of the Catan.
And we have 2. Actually,
Yes.
we have 3. Because another robed monstrosity is reported to be attacking Fortis Bastion. Dear listeners, in case you've forgotten, there is that artifact. A 4th Satan shard. Oct thinks it's the dragon, but what reason would Necrosor Amintar have for invading this tomb world to get that shard? 4 Nightbringers. That's not even game legal. You can't do that. You can't even do 2.
Well, one shard of the Nightbringer is destructive. It's almost impossible to stop. 4 of them? That's just like you've lost at that point.
You lost the moment you entered this colony world. So Titus realizes, oh my god, we need to call for help. He grabs his cell phone, his handy-dandy cell phone, Cornelius the Astropath, and he sends out a call for reinforcements. And wouldn't you know it, some Space Marines are nearby fighting some orc pirates. It's the 4th Company, our Green Boys. And they said that they would send some Space Marines and some Auxilia. And Titus just hopes that there'll be a planet to hand over when the 4th Company gets there. Planning very quickly, Titus divides his forces into 3 strike forces. A western force, a southern force, and a northern force. And it's that northern force with a bunch of repulsor tanks that's gonna have to deal with one of these Nightbringer shards.
Yeah, hopes and executioner for their sake.
I do want to make a quick note. There's a really funny line in this where Titus doesn't really know what is going on, But he states Chaplain Leandros would doubtless warn against trying to understand lest Titus be tainted in the attempt.
Have to have that little stab at Leandros.
Yeah.
I hate that guy.
And
So
they just sent repulsors to the north.
they just send some tanks, and two of them almost immediately die to the Nightbringer.
Doesn't the Nightbringer like throw one like across the battlefield?
Like a tin can, he throws it and he
Yeah.
slices one in half.
He's giving a sermon on the mound.
It's actually it was a Lehman Russ battle tank that decided to roll up and is like, shoot that thing, shoot the Grim Reaper.
Out of the sky.
And
It's
they
the Grim Reaper.
they plink like two shots into it, and it just turns and with one little hand like peels the armor off the tank and just sucks the souls out of everybody in the tank.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this thing is awful.
Dude, have you ever fought a Nightbringer on the table?
No, I've never played Necrons.
Oh boy, they're almost impossible to kill.
What was it? 2-up save, 4-up invuln all the time?
No, it's a 4-up, 4-up.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's a 4-up feel no pain with -1 damage
Oh,
and
my
reanimation protocol, so it heals every turn.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wasn't there something where they can reanimate?
Yes, in rules a Catan shard heals at the start of every command phase on your turn. If you're Necrons, it regains D3 wounds. Now there are other things that can increase that. And like I said, it has a 4-up feel no pain, and subtracts 1 from the damage characteristic. It's a very, very tanky model. I think it has like 18 wounds or something like that. 16. I think it's 16 wounds.
Yeah, they're tanky. I hate those guys. Asher, give us a status report. How are we feeling on Novamagnor right now?
It's not going well. You know, I mentioned before that it sounded like it was not going to go well. It's definitely not going well.
I mean, you're right. We have 3 Nightbringer shards killing everybody. Titus is looking for something to do. And his scanners reveal that the Vortex Bomb is still underground, kind of exactly where they need it to be. So he's like, look, guys, our only chance is for the humans on the surface to hold their ground while I try to take my tech marines and go activate that bomb.
How is he going to activate it without the Tech Marine or the Mechanicus?
Well, Space Marines do have tech marines, and tech marines do train on Mars. In fact, they actually worship the Omnissiah more than they worship the God Emperor. So they know the data and the hacking and what to do.
Okay.
And they can
Titus,
last a
where are
little
you
longer
going?
than. I was gonna say they can last a little longer than a tech priest.
Yeah, they're a little
Okay.
sturdier.
That makes more sense. I was just going to say, Titus, where are you going? To give the Necrons back their bomb.
If at first you don't succeed, try again. Things are not going well. On one of the orbital defense platforms, it's called Munitorum Hub 242. The defenders are overrun by one of these Satan shards, so they overload the generators and put a crater into the earth to try to drag down as many Necrons as they can with them.
Oh my god.
Fortis Bastion, another one that was dealing with the Satan shard, they have no answer to the Nightbringer. Everybody is running. Even the Ultramarine Auxilia are running because the Ultramarines are not there. All of the Space Marines have been pulled into this final push with Titus to go and get that bomb. And so everyone on the surface, this is their last moment. Oct is not helping. All of his Adeptus Mechanicus troops, he has put them all around the shrine to protect him. And he says, you will not move unless I give the order. You will not fire a shot unless I give the order. And his men are like, okay, fine.
So they're basically all fighting to their death. They have they have nothing. And all of a sudden, all the Catan shards of the Nightbringer vanish.
They're just
gone.
gone.
Just gone.
What happened?
Titus knows that they definitely have not perished, but instead they had been moved somewhere else.
Ooh.
Somewhere that it could be better suited.
Do Necrons have uppy downy?
I mean, yeah.
I
They
mean,
have a lot of uppy downy.
they're just teleporting all over the place.
Yes.
Okay, Titus, his Thunderhawks, the warriors of the Second Company, and 2 dreadnoughts, a Redemptor dreadnought and a Brutalis dreadnought, battle their way back into the tomb. Chain blades roaring, Ceramite crashing against Necrodermis. You know, everything seems to be going well until the Redemptor dreadnought takes a shot to the dome from a Canoptic Doomstalker, and he just kind of tilts over. But the Ultramarines, they just keep going. They force a breach, they go into the site. They've decided to go around, but like still battle their way in. They're killing flayed ones, they're killing Ophidians, they're killing Canoptic Wraiths as much as they can. Royal Wardens. I mean, the Necrons have brought everybody here to kill these guys. But the Codex Astartes dictates that victory must be achieved at all costs with proper tactics and really bright blue armor. So the Ultramarines are right in the thick of it doing what they need to do. Titus, Gadriel, Mataris, banner waved high, shields forward. Titus and his men battle through, getting to the pillar. They're running out of ammo. Their chain blades are starting to wear down. But they make Gilliman proud. They stab and cut and cleave, and destroyers, they're no match for the hero of the Second Company, the captain. He knows he's not going to fail again. His Tech Marines move forward, and they find the Vortex Bomb, and they like, guys, I found it. I know where it is. They go to the pillar, they find the bomb, but Nemesis Anhatek, the lady who hid the bomb in the first place, she actually gets a call from Necrosor Amintar because the Necrosor has locked on to a power signal that he really wants. But she stays, she ignores her lord and decides to fight Titus. And it's a good fight. The two fight in a duel, and they're pretty evenly matched. They go back and forth. Titus, he's been fighting for a really long time, so he's kind of tired. But there is one advantage that he has, is that Nemesis Anhatek, she has a little bit of the madness. So she's not as careful with her strikes. She's more like sweeping and kind of overcommitting. And if you don't have any pain receptors, you're a little more careless with your strikes. And Titus, he uses this to his advantage. So he's able to kind of duck underneath one of her really big sweeping strikes and drives his chainsword up into her torso and rips her head from her body.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But don't worry, she just fades away and is going into a sarcophagus to be reanimated.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, because Necrons can't die.
Well, I was just about to say, talking this up, it's like, oh, wow, this is going to be a really cool fight. And granted, if anyone's going to have any plot armor anywhere, it's going to be Captain Titus.
Right.
But, talking about how, with the sickness she has and the way she's fighting is leaving her vulnerable enough. It's just, it sounds really cool.
Yeah, and he does take some hits, but Titus, being Titus, is able to find victory. And his Tech Marines are able to get to the bomb and start working on it. And they activate the bomb and put it on a timer, put it right beneath the pillar, and there's only one thing left to do. Run for your lives! We gotta get out of here! Okay, meanwhile...
The perfume department.
Meanwhile, I mentioned that the Necrosor had found an energy signal that it really wanted. And it's because Archimagos Oct, through his prayers to the Omnissiah, had been able to kind of unlock a little bit of this little shard, enough for it to call out to the Necrosaur. And the Necrosaur blips everybody, does a full all call. Attention all shoppers, we have found it. Everybody get to the Forge Shrine now. And when Amintar gets there, nobody is firing back. Oct is frozen. And what I think happened is he got a little bit of the Destroyer madness in him. Or like something infected the mechanical parts of his brain. And his soldiers are sitting still and are like, "Sir, orders?" as they're getting ripped to shreds because they've been given the order not to fire until he gives it. And he's just not.
Pretty sure one of his guys, like almost too late, finally realizes he needs to attack.
Yeah.
Too. There's like a moment.
It's very brief, but one of the Skitarii marshals kind of overrides the code and is able to get one shot off at the Necrons, and then he dies.
That's insane. I was just about to say, yeah, that nobody was shooting back because he told him not to. But if he's got, if he's down with the sickness, then he's not going to be able to tell him.
Yeah, and the book says he's like frozen, unable to give the order, and all of his men are being ripped to shreds, and the Necrosaur enters the Forge Shrine. This is a really funny story. Alex, do you want to tell it?
Yeah, so Avatar enters the shrine, and Oct is like reading or murmuring binaric prayers while it's approaching. Oct like realizes he's in the room, and he, instead of being like cowering in fear, instead like raises his arms and is like, "You have to help me. We both want the same thing. Let's open this so we can both gain like the knowledge from it." Amatar, almost weirdly gentle, unfolds like his gauntlet, and then with a single motion just throws Oct into a bunch of destroyers, and they just instantly kill him. He doesn't even get to see the artifact being opened. But the funniest part is Amintar just gently opening like he's going to help, or like it's going to help, and then just throwing Oct to the wolves.
It's that meme of the dude putting his hand on the shoulder of the guy.
Yeah, and then throwing him
and then just
across
killing
the
him.
room. Yeah.
I mean, he's frozen, but he would still be able to register what was happening. So to see someone of its magnitude walk up to him and just, someone so destructive just gently unfold something, and then he thinks, I guess, for a split moment that he might be okay, and then that is definitely not the case.
I was gonna say, Amatar has no feelings for this.
Right.
They are a machine, and they only care about getting the thing that it wants.
Right. So then, would there have been a reason in its mind that it would have done it so calmly, rather than just doing it the most efficient way possible? Just go ahead and tossing it to him.
Well, Oct is kind of helping Amintar because Oct is trying to open up a Satan shard. And when he's so close to this thing that the Necrosaur really wants, I think the Necrosaur wants to be careful. But also, sometimes, very rarely, the old Amintar comes back for a split second. And it's lucid, and it thinks, and then it goes straight back to killing monstrosity. I'm going to kill everybody and throw you across the room into my destroyers.
Oh, I hadn't even thought of the sickness kind of, receding a little bit and letting the old Amintar kind of come back. That sounds really interesting, actually.
And that is what sometimes the Oblivion Court for Amintar is afraid of. It's this weird part where you have this, kind of like the orcs with Gazgul. It's every now and then he'll just say something and you're like, whoa, like, are you back? Are you with us? Are you there? And then he goes back to babbling like an idiot, and you're like, that was scary. Like, it's scarier sometimes to see a madman be sane for 2 seconds than it is for him to be completely mad all the time.
Yeah, well, that's, from what you guys have described to me, there's just his goal is to seek these artifacts, and the greater goal through this is just destruction, and this just super small moment of gentleness. If that's how it's described in the book, it's just really, it's just the complete opposite of everything that has happened up till now.
Yeah, and that's what the book says.
It just sounds really cool.
It's quoted, surprising gentleness, and then he flings him with one motion in the next sentence. So that is the end of Archimagos Oct, and Amintar has achieved its goal. It got another one of the Nightbringer shards. So we know that it has 4 just on this planet. We don't know if it has more on other planets.
It's rare to have 1, by the way.
Super rare. Okay,
So is the artifact that he's just gotten, is this another one of these Nightbringer shards specifically, or is this just a different Catan shard?
It is a Nightbringer shard.
Okay. All right, so now we're up to 4.
Yes.
Right? Because you said there was 3 before?
Yes.
Okay.
And we've discussed Titus and his men setting the bomb. We've discussed Oct being killed by Amintar. Now the last front of the planet is the surface and the outside in the cities, where Governor Gallo is trying her best to hold on, and she puts up a good fight. She has 1 Baneblade, and she's like, we have to commit this to the fight. Bring it out. And it's so funny because in the book, the paragraph where they introduce the Baneblade is also the paragraph where the Baneblade is destroyed. So the Baneblade rolls out, a giant fortification, a rolling fortification with a gigantic gun on it. It kills a bunch of Necrons in one shot, obviously. But then they see Amintar, the Baneblade crew, and they're like, whoa, let's kill that thing.
Kill it, kill it, kill it.
But they're like, sir, can we fire on our own men? Already too late. Just asking that question and hesitating, another one of Amintar's Oblivion Court, the Scorpec Lord Nesfetra, blades as hands, slices open the Baneblade and carves everybody up inside and paints the walls red.
Wow.
The governor, seeing this, she's like, well, guys, here we go. She grabs her blade, and the governor is preparing to die in this final fight, and that's exactly what happens. She and her honor guard, a commissar and his Ogren bodyguard are all slaughtered by the Necrons in this final fight. But the aftermath. Amintar got what it came here for. But the Space Marines, the Vortex Bomb went off and destroyed the tomb complex and created a 5-mile crater where it used to be.
The big crater.
Yeah.
Well, something has gone right.
How far is human sight? Like, how far can we see? Is it 10 miles? Like, from ground level?
Well, I mean, it depends on the size of the planet. With the curvature of the Earth, it's kind of just depends on how far you can see.
The Earth's curvature limits your direct line of sight to the horizon to about 3 miles.
3 miles? Wow. Okay.
But that's if you're like on land looking at the horizon.
Okay, well, my point is, if you were on one edge of this crater, you would not be able to see the other edge of this crater.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, actually, no, you could, because it would delete the horizon in between you and the edge of the
right.
crater.
Be able to see the other side, yeah.
There would be no curvature.
It is that big, there is no curvature to be able to actually have something to pinpoint your mileage on.
I ate it. I ate the curvature. The governor is dead. Amintar has escaped with a 4th Nightbringer shard. But luckily, Legatus Minervus has successfully evacuated the Novamagnorian forces and the Ultramarian forces and established a rallying point. The 4th Company are just a few days away. Now all we have to do is clean up where we left off. The Necrosaur leaves because It got what it came here for. It's leaving. It's going on to the next planet to find another Nightbringer shard. It's Oblivion Court. Leave. All that's left are some of the... I imagine there are still some sane Necrons still on the planet fighting the destroyer Necrons, and the humans need to clean that up.
What I think, theory-wise, is the ship that was leaving had all the same Necrons.
All the same Necrons?
Because Necron warriors do not have the same... They follow coding. They have protocols that they have to follow. They do not have their own thought process. The lords and the overlords and the cryptex and stuff, they retain their minds from biotransference. But Necron warriors don't. And I think all the ones that were left that didn't get taken over by the destroyer virus was on that ship. So I'd believe that really all that's left is shambling Necron warriors that are just walking around trying to kill stuff. That's all I can think of.
And I think it's going to be much easier for the Ultramarines and the humans to fight back against these Necrons that are left, because in the book it says even Necron warriors that have guns will just charge because they want to destroy. Like they'll hit you with the butt of their gun before they pull the trigger.
Necrons are really only strong when they have a leader and they're following protocol. When they're by themselves without something to give them directions, it's like Tyranids without their synaptic connection. They just kind of roam. They don't have anything that they're trying to accomplish.
Asher,
Seems like they have a better chance now.
Yeah, and
I mean the leadership is, like I said, the sane ones were gone. So I guess now that most everybody is dead on the Imperium side anyway, now that whatever is left has a chance, with the Fourth Company is on the way. The bomb's gone off. So there may not be a horizon on a part of this planet, but there seems to be a horizon, a light at the end of this tunnel.
And speaking of tunnel, the bomb that went off seemed to have destroyed the teleporters that the Necrosaur's army was using to reinforce the planet. So the reinforcements of the Necrons have been cut off. So now there's just a finite number. They're going to do their best to kill them. Titus has done his job as the Warden of Ultramar. I mean, that's his job. He's the Master of the Watch. That's what the Second Company is. It's their job to defend the 500 worlds. But he still feels this twanging in the back of his mind. Like, where'd that guy go? What was that thing? What were those 4 horrible, shadowy, scythe-wielding freaks? Have we done our job?
Did I leave the oven on?
Where's the governor? Bring me my cell phone. So only time will tell if Titus has fulfilled his job.
And, of course, Titus has a model, but Nemesaur Avatar also has a model. And it's kind of interesting that in the story they really only meet once.
And they don't even fight.
Could be a setup for something.
Angstily stare at each other for a couple minutes while the door closes.
Yeah. At the very end of this book, the last page, we get a massive text chain of a message trying to be sent. Verifications, re-verifications, checks for tech heresy.
For example, I'll read this out. It says, Locum Systems Query, Vox Adept Unworth. Reason? It's an impossible output. Error suspected. Clearance Signifier confirms that there's no error. There's another system query. Senior Magos Giminax Lassus 99 suspects that it's tech heresy / malfeasance. The signifier confirms there is no malfeasance. The clearance signifier idents Lionel Johnson, the Primarch of the Dark Angels.
And I love that it goes, all right, message confirmed. Cogitating. Brother, we need to talk. Message concludes. So it took about, 5 hours for the Primarch of the Dark Angels to send a text message to his brother.
I love all the people being like, "Nah, this can't be. It's impossible."
I
Is
mean,
he's back, right?
yeah.
Lion's yeah, he's back. So this is him getting brought into this reclamation.
Well, Lionel Johnson has had a return. He returned right at the end of ninth edition. And when he showed up, it was a big deal, obviously, because now we have two living loyalist Primarchs that are actively helping the Imperium, but they haven't met up with each other yet. And so that's what Lionel Johnson is sending this message for. He says, "Hey, Gilliman, we need to talk. Like, we need to meet up and see what we're going to do, because half of the Imperium is on the other side of the Great Rift, while you're over here playing make-believe and trying to reclaim your 500 worlds. We need to plan for the other 10,000 worlds in the Imperium."
Yeah, I guess that is a good point. You know, he being Gilliman wrote the Codex to make sense of the entire Imperium after. Well, no, the Codex was just limited to the Space Marines, right? That wouldn't have had to do with anything from the Imperium.
Correct. The Imperium is based off what is known as the Lex, which is the law.
And he didn't write that.
No, the
Okay.
Emperor wrote that.
Okay, I
will
was going
make
to say
note.
he's kind of just abandoned in quotations, abandoned the rest of the Empire to go and focus a lot of these forces on these 500 worlds of Ultramar when they, you know, the Lion's right. You know, you do need to be paying attention to everywhere else in the Imperium.
But
I
Gilliman's
will
trying his
say-
best.
I will say also the Lion, back in the Horus Heresy, was not a huge fan of his brother Gilliman.
No.
They got into a lot of really just arguments, and the whole thing about the Codex was a big deal. And what's currently happening is the Lion actually has appeared on the other side of the galaxy, the Imperium Nihilus. He's almost like grown up. Funnily enough, he was a hothead during the Horus Heresy. So much so that he blew up his own planet because he thought the people on it were trying to kill him. In this version of Lionel, he's more reserved. He's like older. He's kind of got more white hair,
He's wiser.
but he's wiser, and he's now more thoughtful in his approach rather than being more just attack first, ask questions later.
Like, Asher, to give you a clue into this guy, the moment that the Lionel Johnson, and the Space Wolves Primarch, Lehman Russ, got back to Earth after the Horus Heresy, right when they met, before they could even shake hands, Lionel Johnson stabbed his brother in the chest with a sword.
Oh,
And then they were cool.
yeah. Okay.
But Lionel Johnson was always that really, really aggressive brother, but he's really mellowed out since then.
Which, if you ever read Lions on the Forest, highly suggest. It's a great book just in general. Talks a lot about, it really shows how he perceives everything. Because he basically woke up, he went to sleep like in the 30th. It was after the Horse Heresy, but he basically disappeared and he woke back up recently, and he's kind of adjusting to everything that's changed, like Gilliman did, but he's older, and he's now seeing the error of his ways. So while Gilliman is just trying to fit himself back in the same way he was, Lion is trying to make up for all the things he did wrong.
So, going back to Novamagnor, now that this is, you mentioned that now there's a finite amount of Necrons. With the Force Company showing up, they're able to reclaim this world. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. When this started, they were tracking Tyranids.
Right.
With this development of Titus being introduced to, now granted he was hunting for bigger threats at the time, in quotations, with him being introduced to Amintar, is this going to shift his focus in terms of the reclamation? Is he going to go after Amintar just continue kind of following the breadcrumbs until he can find him again, or is he going to just continue on the path of cleaning house as the plan was before?
Well, to answer your question, just the last sentence, I'll quote the book. If he could, if duty allowed, then Titus would fulfill his vow to find the monster again and end its menace once and for all. So he is not going to actively seek it, but it is definitely going to be something that if the Necrosaur ever shows up again, Titus is going to be ready for him.
Okay.
But
That was going to be my question, because Titus kind of running into this, it's just like, oh, this is I have no clue what the show it's from, but it's this guy and a girl, they're driving past each other and they're staring at each other. You know the one I'm talking about?
is it Beef?
Maybe. They're driving older cars, but it's just two people that are in the center of their own narrative going on, and they're just brushing past each other. And they're like, wait a second, this guy seems really important. And Amintar seems to realize that too, to the extent of when he was watching him. And then they're both just going their separate ways. So I was just curious as to if they were going to stay intertwined.
Umbrella Academy.
Umbrella Academy, yeah.
I know exactly that meme of them
Yeah.
passing each other and like, whoa, wait. Yeah. If the opportunity arises, Titus will seize it. But he has a duty. He is the master of the watch. He's the leader of the second company. His job is to defend and at this point reclaim the 500 worlds. Not go hunting. This is not High Marshal Helbricht and the Black Templars where we can just drop a crusade on Armageddon to chase down Gazgul. But yeah, this has been the 500 worlds. This is the Titus book. Asher, what did you think?
So every book that we've covered, you said this is all of them?
The 3 episodes that we've done so far have all been out of one book.
One book out of 4. There's 4 books.
So we're not even into the second book.
Nope.
No.
Okay, I was partially worried that this was going to be it and we didn't have any more to go, because I was going to say this has slowly. So first episode, I was really like, oh, this is setting up to be really cool. Last episode, I was definitely like, okay, this is my favorite episode so far, because we're getting in depth and kind of building the background of what Amintar is and what it's looking to seek and how it's going to clash with a lot of things. And this one has also become my favorite because we're melding the 2 last episodes into one, and all these guys are crossing paths, and it's just been really cool to see how all that mixes.
I hope you're ready for the next episode where we don't mention anything that we've talked about so far.
We have different characters with different forces.
Yeah, the next book that we're going to talk about is going to be more Chaos Space Marine focused.
It's going to be the Maelstrom,
Pirates
of the Tyrant.
Pirates, baby. It's the One
hope you're
Piece.
ready for nothing. Okay. I'm still going to be excited for that, but I will say that this episode has been really enjoyable for me because, like we've mentioned before, I'm our resident audience member for this. So everything that we're learning in terms of the story, I know a couple of the odds and ends from each faction here and there, but I don't know really what's going on with the story until Ian and Alex tell it to all of us sitting here. So finding all this out has just been really cool. I've not said a lot sometimes because I've kind of just been flabbergasted. Like my jaw has been, opened several times just being able to listen to how this story has played out. It's just been really fascinating.
I mean, hey, they're cooking up something at Games Workshop. The storyteller forge that they have is great.
Yeah.
And
they've got a lot of good stuff coming out.
Yeah, and I highly recommend get a subscription to Warhammer TV or Warhammer Plus so you can watch Warhammer TV cuz their stories are really good. Their animated shows are really good. There's one called Interrogator. It's really good.
What I like about them too is that they're not long. They're not like seasons. They're like 3 or 4 episodes, but it's just enough that you get invested, and it has a very satisfying conclusion.
Like Asher, we watched Tithes together.
God, Tides is good.
Right.
That
Tides
one's just 3 different
with
episodes.
The Silent Sister and the Custodes?
Yes.
And then
and
the White Templars.
And the White Templars.
And then you have Casterkin versus Orcs.
I love that one because of the ending of that's just such like a perfect representation of
It's
the.
so Warhammer.
It's so Warhammer, and then you have the psychic or no, the psychic one is the
The Custodes.
Custodes one. What's the other one?
There was another
Is
one
it the
where they went
plane
to get
one?
ammunition,
No,
right?
No,
Where they were like
ammunition.
load up the
That's the
shuttles with
Castrican one.
that's the
ammunition.
Kazakin one.
Oh, okay.
Tides is good. Pariah Nexus is really good. Um,
I love that one. Oh, that's the other episode of Tithes. Is the
oh yeah,
sequel to Pariah Nexus.
it's a continuation after Pariah Nexus, which is yeah, that was a cool one. Man, I hope we get like a commemorative model of that salamander.
Oh yeah. Oh shoot, what is his name? Starts with a V, I think. Sakan the
It's a
salamander.
con, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, Tithes is great.
Oh yeah, if you like salamanders, you should watch Pariah Nexus. That one's good. They just had the sisters one too, didn't they?
What's it called? Like repentance, penitence.
Something like that.
That's good. I had a great
That's
ending.
good. I haven't watched it yet. Don't spoil it. I haven't
Okay,
watched that
well,
one yet.
it's got a good ending.
Okay, good.
And then, but
You got Angels of Death, which is good. If you want, like Blood Angels, you've got that was the one that was made by the guy who made Hell's Reach.
even even the Stormcast one that they just came out with, it was an animated one. It was a continuation of the Skaven box launch. So I
Oh, like
don't.
the trailer for it.
Yes, like literally, they used the same scenes from the trailer, and it fleshes out the characters in the trailer.
Well, it's like how Pariah Nexus, you can watch the ninth edition trailer and then go into Pariah Nexus and then watch the episodes from Tides, and you have like a complete story.
Yeah, and it's the same Ultramarine sergeant.
Sergeant gets that happens to have something happen to him in Pariah Nexus.
But he shows back up in Tithes, so
He, yeah.
he briefly shows back up in Tithes. Well, Asher, what is your most important takeaway from the 500 Worlds book?
That there is just a lot happening, and it doesn't all click at the same point, if that makes sense, what I'm getting across. There's a lot of factions doing a lot of things, and they might not necessarily be looking to necessarily cross paths, like in or this case, the Ultramarines just happened to be on this tomb world when Amintar came through.
Right. Everybody's plans kind of just run into each other at different times.
It is a
So
big galaxy.
Yeah.
it just builds this whole just sense of, kind of just lets you really like take a step back and feel the chaos that's just occurring throughout these different sectors and these planets, and like really feel like, hey, they really might not know what is actually going on.
Alex, what is your most important takeaway from the 500 Worlds book?
Well, as someone who likes Necrons, I like more of the. I like that they kind of fleshed out a little bit more of the kind of destroyer stuff a little bit more because when destroyers and kind of flayed ones too were at kind of this wing of Necrons that weren't really deep dived into, and I like that they now have like, hey, here's a big guy who's really connected to all the destroyer stuff, and he's got 4 Catan shards. That's a big deal. Like it doesn't seem like a lot, but 1 Catan shard. I mean, you've got the whole book, The Nightbringer, where Ventress is having to stop a Catan shard. I mean, it takes an entire force to stop 1 Catan shard, and that thing's got 4 of them. I really think that's if they make sure that this is a threat, it could be a real problem. If Amatar gets more, I'm interested to see where that's gonna go.
Well, you're both wrong. The most important takeaway from this book is that Adaris, the steak and seasoning capital of the galaxy, has been saved. And it's steak dinners for
500
everybody.
500 more wolves to Ultramar.
500 more steaks for Titus. I love this. I just love that in this one book that's just like 80 pages long, less than that, they have given us so much lore for you to include any faction that you want, whether it's Tyranids, Necrons, leagues of Votan are mentioned, Gene Stealer cults, any kind of different marine chapters that you want. Everybody is mentioned. So if you back home want to make your own story, it's there. Like, the recipe book is right here. There's so much lore for you to just say, hey, maybe my guys are off in the distance helping fight. Oh, I've got a guard regiment. Maybe I'm the Baneblade that got ripped to shreds. But I love it. I love this book, and I'm very excited for the next episode series where we are going to talk about the Maelstrom and Chaos Space Marine pirates coming out of the warp.
Ooh.
Yeah, and they also got some good new models, and we're going to introduce probably the first time you've ever heard of him, Asher, Huron Blackheart.
I think I've listened to some lore about him. He is from, he was not controlling, he was helping out this world, and then the Imperium was like, hey, we sent too many people over here, we gotta pull these guys back, and he was left on his own, and then he was like, we're just gonna start doing this for ourselves.
That's
Right.
him. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
It's not just some world. It's
I can't forget its name, which is,
It's Badab, baby.
it's the Badab
Badab.
Civil War.
Okay, yeah.
With
It's
I
actually
I
Oh,
have
that's right. This is where your Mantis Warrior figure comes from.
Yes, I've painted a Mantis Warrior. And the
this is-
Lamenters. We cannot forget the
the
Lamenters.
Lamenters are in this one as well,
Yeah.
but the Badab War is kind of where Warhammer lore kind of started its like permanent stay. Because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the Badab War was like second edition when they finally started like, hey, here's some like definite lore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm very
So-
excited to revisit it. It's a good section of the galaxy. This has been our episode concluding our series on the 500 Worlds Titus book. Thank you for listening, and we can't wait to see you as we cover Maelstrom next.
I am excited for next time.
Me too. I'll see you guys next time.
As always, you can find us on Instagram at Old Days of Lore. You can find our YouTube channel with a link to our Discord in the description of our YouTube channels, and you can find us on Spotify. And if you have any questions or requests for lore, you can email us at olddaysoflore@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to Days of Lore.